My name is Jani Brajkovic. I'm a former professional cyclist. Many of you might recognize me from my cycling career. I was world champion under 23 in a time trial. I was top 10 at the Tour de France, top 10 at Olympic Games, winning Criterion du Dauphiné, beating the best rider on the planet. And I was also broken. This webinar is for professional and recreational athletes and also all high performers who keep pushing harder and harder in order to achieve results that they need, thinking it's the only way forward. I know because I did the same. I pushed through pain, injuries, fatigue, doubts until my body completely broke down and I was left with nothing. If you're on the same path, always pushing, never feeling enough, paying with your health, energy, happiness, and joy, then this webinar is for you. Because the truth is, push through approach works, but only short term. Long term, it will break you, it will destroy you. And today I will show you a new path, a smarter path, where you can perform at your highest level without breaking down. On the outside, I had it all, perfect life, but behind the scenes, it was very different. I was this boy who had a lot of fears, self-doubt, negative self-image, and constant feeling of not being enough. And to be enough, my answer was to be better cyclist. I went to extremes to get there with extreme training regimes, with extreme dieting, with extreme recovery protocols. And slowly I was breaking myself down. The body was breaking down. I got eating disorder in the process. I was addicted to riding my bike. I was completely anti-social. I couldn't look into eyes of a person. And at some point, because of that abuse, numbing myself from those negative feelings and emotions with excessive exercise, I completely broke down. And then I was faced with the decision whether I rebuild myself or I continue like that and slowly end my life on this planet, because that was the reality. And I chose to rebuild myself. And as I was rebuilding myself, I also created the JB method. With JB method, I help high performers rebuild themselves as well, but also I help them achieve their absolute 100% potential without grave consequences in the future. Today, I would like to talk about improving performance in a different way. We all know that training, nutrition, sleep, recovery, certain gadgets, devices, they all help. And yes, sometimes we focus first on nutrition, biomarkers, sleep, recovery, training, technology, because it's that low hanging fruit which will give the client more energy, willpower to cope with the demands of the program. But we're missing the point. What is the most important part in performance? How do we produce energy, power? How do we function? How does the body function? And in this regard, we have to address the breathing, the efficiency of movement, the efficiency of making decisions or recognizing, sensing the problems we face and solving those problems. And this is what JB method does. Basically, we improve internal functioning of the body. And in order to understand how we do it, we have to also understand that the efficiency of functioning of a person solely depends on if that person is capable of sensing what is going on in the body. And that's where self-awareness comes into the place. So we are sensory motor beings. We are sensing, and based on those sensations, we make decisions. If there is no sensing, those decisions will most likely be inefficient or detrimental. So we have to sense. The problem we have is sensory motor amnesia. Sensory motor amnesia means that we lost touch with our body, with our muscles. So we have worse, or we don't have good capability of controlling the muscles, because at some point in our life, because of the stress, mental, physical, repetitive movements, stress at school, stress at work, emotional stress, the muscles tense. And if this stress persisted, there was a need for those muscles to stay tense. And if they stay tense for longer periods of time, what happens is that the muscles remain tense, and there is no sensing, or there is less sensing coming from the muscle into the mind. So we start sensing less. And when we sense less, it is the likelihood of making good decisions, again, which is based on sensations, is worse. To help you understand why is sensing so important, imagine a power meter that is always off. Some days it would show too many watts, some days it shows too little watts. And then if you have to do 300 watts, you don't really know whether you're doing 280 or 320. The power meter is showing 300, but in reality, you're doing way more or way less. And this is why sensing is so important. And muscles, in order to stay tense, they have to get energy somewhere. So muscles will use energy that our body produces in order to be tense. That tension is subconscious. In the beginning, it is acute, so we have control over that muscle tone. But over time, that tension becomes chronic and subconscious. And when it becomes subconscious, we don't have control over those muscles anymore, of that tension, the tension that muscle is under. It might be 10%, it might be 20%, it might be 30%. Imagine driving a car with the handbrake on. This is what chronic muscle tension SMA do. They make you inefficient, they make you break down faster, they make all sorts of problems. So when we talk about sensory motor amnesia, and many of you would probably say, I don't have any tension, I don't feel any chronic muscle tension. Please look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I see? What kind of posture do I see? Do you see your shoulders rolled forward? Do you see your shoulders pulled back? Do you see your lower back extremely tense and arched? What do you see? Do you see one shoulder pulled down or one shoulder pulled up? Do you see your head leaning to one side? And we can think about our body being our autobiography, and what has not been expressed is stored in the body. So all our history is stored in the body, and the posture will directly tell you where the tensions are, whether they're on the front of the body or the posterior chain, or on the sides, lateral side of the body. When stress happens, autonomic nervous system will activate sympathetic state. Sympathetic state is there to help us cope with the problem and fix the problem, resolve the problem. Internal pressure in the body goes up, heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, breathing speeds up, muscles tense, we are more focused, we are ready to fight or flight. But if that stress persists and we are not able to solve or resolve that problem, whether by running away from the problem or fighting the problem, then that tension that was there in first place to help us, to give us more energy, focus, and hyperventilation, faster breathing, then those start being integrated into the nervous system and subconscious mind. And little by little, we become less and less aware of that tension, rigidity, stiffness, energy leaks, and we start normalizing it. It becomes normal for us to be the way we are. And if we talk strictly about breathing, efficient breathing demands that we are able to expand the chest. With inhale, the diaphragm should descend towards the pelvis, the chest opens and we inhale, and with exhale the opposite is true. So muscles of the front of the body constrict, compress, and we expel all the air with exhale. I'm talking about maximum inhale and exhale. And if there are tensions and sensory motor amnesia, this is not possible. The other thing is that with over breathing, we recalibrate our centers in the brainstem for CO2 tolerance, and lower CO2 tolerance means less efficient oxygen transfer from the air that we inhaled into the muscle that needs oxygen. So that the metabolism will automatically be more anaerobic at lower intensities. And this is why this is so important. So on one side, that chronic tension that we have because of the stress, or we had because of the stress and became subconscious, is leaking energy, is taking energy from the body. But on the other side, there is breathing that is more inefficient, that is faster, that is shallower. And that shallow breathing is also making oxygen transfer from the blood to the muscles less efficient. So we are producing less energy in first place. So you produce less energy, and the energy you produce, part of that energy goes for maintenance of chronic muscle tension. That's a huge problem. The other problem is that the state that we are in, so with chronic muscle tension, leaking energy, inefficient breathing, less sensing or no sensing, because some parts of the body can be completely alienated from the our perception. And if we cannot feel, our decisions will be, let's say, not as good as they should be. So we make decisions based on what we feel. And also, if we say on the bike, we make worse decisions. So we don't feel that we're about to get injured. We don't feel that the body cannot sustain this power for this period of time. Also, pacing is one of the problems, because if we had good feeling what the body is trying to tell us, how big of an effort this 300 watts is for the body, we could adjust the effort and we would get better result in the end. So this is what we deal with and work on in the JB method. JB method on itself consists of somatics, breathing, biomechanics, nervous system, sleep and recovery, nutrition, tech. So this is what we tried to change with the JB method, because from what I see and what I went through, I see that if we don't feel, we cannot even comprehend what the problem is. It doesn't really matter if I tell you this is your problem, you should solve it. If you don't feel it, it will be very hard for you to solve it. That's why I teach you how you can get to a state, to a condition where you have better self-awareness. And this is just a small part of what we do, because apart from somatics and what I was talking about until now is somatics. Somatics is the study and direct experience of the body from within. It is not how your body looks or how it performs. It's about how it feels, how it responds, and how it remembers. Somatic explores the internal perception of movement, tension, and sensation. In JB method, somatics is the gateway to performance without suppression, recovery without numbness, and growth without override. So somatics is just one part of what we do. Of course, breathing is, we could say breathing is part of somatics. It is not part of somatics. It's a separate field. I think it's all intertwined. Also, the nervous system. With somatics, we are influencing and changing the nervous system, because if you are in a sympathetic drive with somatic exercises, you will bring that nervous system down and be more calm and have better sleep and have better recovery, etc., etc. So it is all connected. The most important part of the JB method are somatic exercises. They are slow, gentle, mindful movements coupled with breathing protocols and breathing awareness that help us lower that sensory motor amnesia and chronic tension. They bring activation of the nervous system down into the more parasympathetic state, improving energy production and decreasing energy leakage. This way, we regain control over our body and over our life. Somatic work is like updating an operating system. Once it's done, everything runs smoother. Recovery, breathing, movement, sleep, and also every app, training, nutrition, performance, everything runs better. I would like to talk about the process my clients go through during our work together. It's a 4-stage process. Number 1 is awareness, then we have reset and breakthrough, and then mastery. And number 1, awareness. You got a pretty good idea why awareness is so important. If you don't see it, if you don't feel it, you can't change it. And this is why awareness is number 1. And with the awareness, we do a full audit of a client's behaviors, breathing patterns, movement patterns, training, nutrition patterns, everything that is involved and is important for high performance and good well-being. And this is a wake-up call for most high performers. Number 2 is reset. So we hit hard reset. We start teaching the client somatic exercises with breathing exercises, with CO2 tolerance breathing protocols, with self-awareness, with self-reflection. And that clients, it is starting to reset the old habits that are not efficient, are not good. The good ones remain. So it's not all good. Most of the time, there's a small part that is detrimental for that client and his or her performance. And this is where we put the most focus in. And with exercises and with theory, that client starts lowering sympathetic drive, starts relaxing those muscle tensions, sensory motor amnesia, and also the model of thinking starts to change. So how the client thinks start slowly to change, observes more, sees more, understands more. And then we have breakthrough. And with breakthrough, what I mean is that after a month and a half to 2 months, we start seeing some significant changes. That client starts sleeping better, recovers better, has much better mood. The work that the client does, whether that's in sport or business, is not as taxing to him or her. So he becomes or she becomes more efficient in what they do. So they do their work better. The outcome of their work is better with usually less input. With stage 4 mastery, we try to achieve that this new breakthroughs, that new performances become the new normal for the client. Not that the client needs to try and suffer and work really hard to keep or to stay at this level, but this level becomes the new normal. Because I truly believe that most people are operating at 80% of their potential. And the cost to stay at this new normal is not anymore injury, burnout, depression, or other chronic issues that are basically warning us to stop and not abuse the body and the mind so much. We need to understand that this is not a cookie cutter approach. Every client that comes to me is special with different needs, different states that they are in, with different problems. The core is always somatics, biomechanics, nervous system, breathing. Then we deal with other areas which are also important for high performance, like diet, nutrition, sleep, recovery tools, and different habits that can be implemented to improve that performance of the client and achieve maximum potential that is available for that client. If you've watched this far, it probably means that you recognize yourself in what I shared today. I get it because I went through the same. This is why I invite you to book your free intro call with me. On this intro call, we will identify what are your main challenges, what's hurting your performance, what's draining you, and also map out a plan how to fix it. And then you can decide whether this is the right approach for you. At the end, I would like to thank you for being with me today, for listening to me, for your interest, and also for your time. At the same time, I hope I gave you enough for you to understand how important this is if we want to have high performance, optimal performance, and careers that are not full of injuries, disappointments, and breakdowns. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.